The Netherlands and Denmark are the latest countries to confirm cases of the new coronavirus strain, Omicron. 13 people tested positive for the new variant in the Netherlands after recently returning from South Africa. Israel and now Morocco have become the first countries to shut their borders to all foreigners for the next 14 days to try to halt the spread of the new variant. Voters in Switzerland have backed their government's strategy of a COVID certificate to access bars, restaurants and football matches, showing proof of vaccination, recovery or a negative test. And the French Interior Minister says France wants to work with the UK on the current migrant crisis. European ministers meeting in Calais have agreed to deploy an EU border agency plane over the English Channel from Wednesday.
The new Omicron coronavirus variant surfaced in several countries around the world over the weekend. The Netherlands has confirmed 13 cases of the variant among 61 airline passengers from South Africa who tested positive for the virus. Many countries have tightened restrictions on the entry of people from Southern Africa, where the variant was first identified.
I'm on a business trip. I'm leaving today because the flight has been cancelled yesterday.
I'm not happy with the situation. I have to quarantine in a hotel on my cost.
Australia has recorded 2 cases of the new Omicron coronavirus variant on Sunday. Both cases were reportedly confirmed among recent arrivals from Southern Africa. The 2 people were fully vaccinated. In response, the Australian government has banned the entry of foreign travelers from 9 African countries. England has reinstated mandatory mask wearing on public transportation and in retail stores. Prime Minister Boris Johnson says the tighter measures are necessary after health officials in the country confirmed 2 cases of the variant.
We will require anyone who enters the UK to take a PCR test by the end of the 2nd day after their arrival and to self-isolate until they have a negative result.
Meanwhile, the United States has raised its travel advisory for southern African countries to level 4, do not travel. Japan has also stepped up its border controls. The government has introduced a measure that requires people from 9 countries, including South Africa, to stay at designated accommodation facilities for 10 days upon entry. The country reported 73 new cases nationwide on Sunday. The number of seriously ill patients stands at 43. The indirect negotiations between the United States and Iran on Tehran's nuclear program will resume on Monday in Vienna. The talks aimed at reviving the 2015 nuclear deal are expected to face difficulty because of the deep rift between the 2 countries. Former President Donald Trump's administration revived the sanctions on Tehran after the U.S. withdrew from the agreement in 2018. The U.S. and Iran had held talks intermittently since April to discuss the lifting of sanctions and restricting the nuclear development that Iran carried out as a countermeasure. But the negotiations were suspended in June. Hardline conservative President Ebrahim Raisi came to power in August. His administration continues to demand the complete lifting of sanctions and a guarantee the U.S. will not withdraw from the deal again. But Washington insists it cannot lift sanctions related to terrorism and human rights. A professor at Tehran University says if the U.S. maintains sanctions, Iran will strengthen its ties with its existing partners, such as China and Russia.
The United States would like to keep many of the sanctions that it imposed on Iran. The Raisi administration has been more adamant. It has been more firm in its approach with Western countries.
Iran accelerated its nuclear development while the talks were suspended, increasing its stock of uranium enriched to 60% purity. A U.S. expert stresses the importance of the negotiations, saying Iran now needs only 1 month to produce the amount of nuclear fuel needed to make a nuclear weapon.
If these talks are not productive, I think you're going to see a slight shift by the United States towards a strategy that focuses on, gradually building up some diplomatic and economic pressure on Iran.
Japan's Environment Ministry is introducing a subsidy to encourage companies to invest in low-carbon equipment. The program is the latest part of the government's plan to achieve net zero emissions by 2050. The subsidy will be available to small and medium-sized firms. Eligible projects include the installation of energy-efficient air conditioners and boilers that aren't fueled by coal. The size of the subsidy will be based on the expected reduction in emissions, with the ministry awarding about $70 per ton saved. The upper limit of the subsidy is about $440,000. The government has earmarked a total of about $26 million for the program in its supplementary budget plan for the current fiscal year. Large quantities of pumice stones from an undersea volcano have washed ashore on a beach in Okinawa. Volunteers have joined the cleanup operations in an effort to restore its natural beauty. About 100 people gathered at the beach near the Busena Cave in Nago City on Sunday to collect pumice stones. The beach is close to resort hotels and an undersea observatory tower for viewing fish. Staff from hotels, an organization that manages the tower, and a tourism bureau spent about 2.5 hours putting the stones into bags.
There are so many pumice stones, but I want to do what I can.
I want to restore the white beach to warmly welcome visitors.
Liberal Democratic Party Secretary General Motegi Toshimitsu visited a fishing port in Okinawa's Uruma City on Sunday. He was briefed on the situation by the city's mayor and inspected a temporary storage site for the collected stones. He was told the farming of mozuku seaweed and fish has been severely affected. Motegi also met representatives of the local fishery and tourism industries.
We will take measures to speedily dispel your concerns.
He said around 18 billion yen, or about $160 million, has been allocated in the supplementary budget plan to help remove the pumice and support the fishing industry. Japanese researchers say a vaccine they are developing has successfully eliminated HIV in monkeys. They say their discovery could lead to a complete cure for AIDS. A team at Japan's National Institutes of Biomedical Innovation, Health and Nutrition injected a processed HIV virus into vaccinated crab-eating macaques. They say 4 of the 7 animals were infected, but the virus later became undetectable in their bodies. They assumed the immune response stimulated by the vaccine caused the HIV to disappear. They hope to begin clinical trials on humans in around 5 years. More than 20,000 people have tested positive for HIV in Japan. Yokozuna Grand Champion Teruno Fuji has achieved a perfect winning record for the first time in his career after becoming the champion of the Kyushu Grand Sumo Tournament. On Saturday, Teruno Fuji secured enough wins for his 6th title. He went into the final day of the tournament without a loss. On Sunday, he faced off against Ozeki champion Taka Keisho. After a strong initial charge, the Mongolian-born wrestler gained the advantage. Teruno Fuji won all his bouts in the 15-day tournament, which was held this year in the western prefecture of Fukuoka. It was the first Kyushu tournament in 2 years. It's normally held in Fukuoka in November, but due to the pandemic, last year Tokyo hosted the event.
It has been a while since I've competed in the Kyushu tournament, and I am very grateful to be able to attend the event. I am very happy to win all my matches without a loss. That's a new achievement for me.
Those were the stories for this hour.